Page 1. Managing for Results, Peter F. Drucker, 2006. Economic Tasks and Risk-Taking Decisions. Peter F. Drucker is considered the most influential management thinker ever. The author of more than 25 books, his ideas have had an enormous impact on shaping the modern corporation. Drucker passed away in 2005. The effective business, Peter Drucker observes, focuses on opportunities rather than problems. How this focus is achieved in order to make the organization prosper and grow is the subject of this companion to his classic work, The Practice of Management. Managing for Results shows what the executive decision-maker must do to move his enterprise forward. Drucker again employs his particular genius for breaking through conventional outlooks and opening up new perspectives for profits and growth. Mr. Drucker reminds us the many causes of a business can fail and the few in which their success hinges. Managing for Results demonstrates Drucker's particular genius for breaking through conventional outlooks and opening up new perspectives for ultimate profits in the world of business. What must be done to make the organization perform, prosper and grow, what the executive, the maker of decisions, must do to move the enterprise forward, is the subject of this book. It will be of great value to students of management as well as executives in industry and commerce, and it deals skillfully and perceptively with economic tasks which every business has to tackle in order to achieve sound performance and economic results. Reading this book one realizes how many of the frameworks used by management consulting firms nowadays are rooted in time-tested management practices succinctly explained by Mr. Drucker in this book. A few of my favorite quotes from the book are: "Knowledge is a perishable commodity. It has to be reaffirmed, relearned, repracticed all the time. One has to work constantly at regaining one's specific excellence. Abandonment is the key to innovation both because it frees the necessary resources and because it stimulates the search for the new that will replace the old. One should abandon yesterday's breadwinners before one really wants to, let alone before one has to. The purpose of the work on making the future is not to decide what should be done tomorrow, but what should be done today to have a tomorrow." One of his most esteemed books, this tome takes you through the process of thinking of production/service/business as a means toward an end, that end being the satisfaction of excellence in our responsibilities and the duty of the corporate, company structure. Written 1/2 a century ago, it foretold of the changes the world of business would experience and is the reason why Japanese industry catapulted into prominence in the 1980s. A must-read for anyone who is serious about making their work more meaningful, or who wants to turn their corporate, company culture into a thriving business they can be proud of. Some concepts mentioned in this book may be quite old and therefore the reader may want to reject them as antiquated. But, nothing contained in this book is wasted, and old does not mean insignificant. Learn from the master of quality. Drucker is the source. 0.1. Preface. Managing for Results was the first book to address itself to what is now called business strategy. It is still the most widely used book on this subject. When I wrote it, more than 20 years ago, my original title was, in fact, Business Strategies. But strategy in those days was not a term in common usage. Indeed, when my publisher and I tested the title with acquaintances who were business executives, consultants, management teachers, and booksellers, we were strongly advised to drop it. Strategy, we were told again and again, belongs to military or perhaps to political campaigns but not to business. By now, of course, business strategy has become an in term. Yet in retrospect I am glad we changed the title. To be sure, managing for results may be less sexy. But it is far more descriptive of what this book tries to do. Above all, it expresses the book's premise: businesses exist to produce results on the outside, in the market and the economy. On the inside there are only costs. Indeed, what are commonly called profit centers are as a rule really cost centers. Managing for results therefore begins with an analysis of what the book calls business reality as the fundamentals and constants of the outside environment, the things the business executive has to consider as givens, as constraints, as challenges. And it proceeds to discuss how a business positions itself in respect to these realities to convert them into opportunities for performance and results. This explains, I believe, why this book, after 20 years, is still far more comprehensive than books on strategy alone. It pioneered practically everything to be found in these books, the analysis of markets and products. It contains the first classification of products. Today's breadwinner, for instance, the organized abandonment of the old, the obsolete, the no longer productive, the rewards for leadership and the objectives of innovation. But it also, and in this it still stands alone, showed how to analyze the environment and how to position a business in it. It was the first and by and large it still is the only book to try to balance managing today's business with making the business of tomorrow. And it concludes by linking business as an economic institution measured by economic results and business as a human organization. The last chapter deals with building performance into the organization. The book thus was the first to attempt an organized presentation of the economic tasks of the business executive managing a business organization. Above all, as the introduction states, this book took the first step toward a discipline of economic performance in business enterprise. Never has such a discipline been needed more than it is today, when the economic, social, technological, and political environments in which businesses live and operate are changing faster than ever before, and when every business therefore needs to ask the questions which this book raises and answers: what are the realities of this business? What are its result areas? How are we doing? And what is this business and what should it be? Claremont, California. Thanksgiving Day, 1985. Page 7.